A lot of people ask us about the best Gyokuro tea, so we decided to make a complete buying guide to help you find the best Gyokuro this year. Gyokuro is the most sought after leaf tea in Japan, and it was once the tea of choice for the emperor. This long shaded tea can produce a delicious, sweet and savory flavor, but you need to get a good one to experience the true flavor. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 Gyokuro teas of the year and where you can find them. We'll also teach you what Gyokuro tea is and everything you need to know in order to find the best Gyokuro tea. Let's get started. Number 5, we have the Gyokuro Chamasume. The Gyokuro Chamasume is the best Gyokuro for beginners. It comes from the Yabukita cultivar, which is the most commonly used tea variety in Japan. Even though it has a lower price tag, it's still bursting with flavor. The Chamasume has a direct savory sweetness with these light floral notes. Because Yabukita is an easier tea plant to grow, teas made from this varietal tend to be cheaper, and this is one of the main advantages of this tea. The Chamasume produces a delicious taste that can compete with Gyokuro's twice its price. Yabukita can also produce a strong, savory flavor in a green tea, which is another benefit of the Chamasume. One disadvantage of the Yabukita cultivar is that it can also produce a bitterness. This is mostly smoothed out by the long shading process, but you can still notice a hint of it in the tea, especially if you brew it too hot. If you want a sweeter taste, you may want to go for one of the next Gyokuro teas on our list. Number 4, we have the Gyokuro Sasahime. The Gyokuro Sasahime is a more intermediate level tea. It's made from a blend of Okumidori, Saimidori, and Yabukita cultivars, so it has more nuance and balance. The Sasahime is also the best Gyokuro tea for cold brew, giving you a smooth and sweet green tea with plenty of fruity and vegetable notes. The big strength of the Gyokuro Sasahime is the complexity of the tea. A skilled farmer is able to blend different tea plants together to capture the best elements of each. Mr. Sakamoto has had years of experience with this, and the Gyokuro Sasahime is a great example of his blending expertise. Number 3, we have the Gyokuro Karagane. The next Gyokuro on our list is the Gyokuro Karagane, which is technically a stem tea, although it is made from the same plant as Gyokuro. After the tea plants have been shaded for 3 weeks, Mr. Sakamoto and his family harvest not only the tea leaves, but also the stems of the tea plants. The leaves provide that sweet and umami flavor you might be looking for in a Gyokuro, and the stems balance out the flavor. While the flavor of a Gyokuro tea can be a bit heavier, the stems yield more of a mild flavor so that you can drink the tea throughout the day. The Gyokuro Karagane is also much lower in caffeine, and it works great as a cold brew. The cold water brings out more of these sweet melon and cucumber notes from the tea, which can be very refreshing. Number 2, the Gyokuro Wakamusha. The Gyokuro Wakamusha is a great tea if you prefer these vegetal or seaweedy flavors that Gyokuro is known for. This Gyokuro is from the Okumidori cultivar, and it's the newest addition to our Gyokuro collection. The Okumidori cultivar is typically used in blends to smooth out the flavor of the tea and reduce its bitterness. We have also found a lot of great single cultivar Okumidori teas like this Gyokuro. The Gyokuro Wakamusha is a delicious Gyokuro with a round and sweet flavor, but it's not the sweetest Gyokuro out there. For that, you would need to try the final tea on our list, the Gyokurocha Meijin. Number 1, the Gyokurocha Meijin. The Gyokurocha Meijin is the best Gyokuro tea for serious tea drinkers. It has much more of a warmer sweetness, with notes of caramel and brown sugar. This tea comes from the Saimidori cultivar, which is well sought after for its delicate sweet flavor and lack of bitterness. The Saimidori cultivar is sensitive to weather and the yield is lower, which makes it more expensive to produce. These higher price tags are worth it for that light and sweet flavor this tea produces. If you're looking for the sweetest possible Gyokuro, the Cha Meijin is the way to go. Now that we've discussed the top 5 Gyokuro teas of the year, let's go into a little bit more detail to learn more about this tea and what you might want to look for. What to know before judging the best Gyokuro tea. Before you even look for the best Gyokuro, there are a few things that are important to keep in mind. First, we should define what Gyokuro is and how it's made. If you understand all the hard work that goes into producing the best Gyokuro tea, you will understand how quality varies so widely between Gyokuro. Gyokuro is considered to be the most sought after leaf tea in Japan. It was once the tea of choice for the emperor, and this is why you'll often see it being sold as Imperial Gyokuro. Gyokuro is thought to maintain or even improve its flavor with age, so it's no surprise that it was in high demand in a time before refrigeration. The reason Gyokuro is so sought after today is because of its powerful, sweet and savory flavor. This flavor is very unique in the world of tea. In fact, when discussing the flavor of Gyokuro tea, we often find it more useful to compare it to foods rather than other teas. Gyokuro has the savory flavor of a miso soup, with a touch of saltiness and a hint of the seaweedy flavor. It doesn't sound like it would be very good, but once you experience some of the best Gyokuro tea, you will find that you can't get enough of it. How is Gyokuro made? To make Gyokuro tea, the farmer starts by covering the tea plant for 3 weeks ahead of the harvest. When the tea plant is exposed to sunlight, it begins to convert the theanine into catechins. Catechins can be great to protect the tea against UV light, but they can produce a very bitter flavor in the final tea. If a farmer wants to reduce this bitterness and maximize the sweetness, he will apply the covering. This special type of netting is also called a kabuse, and it's commonly used across different types of Japanese green tea. After the shading period is up, the farmer will then select the top 3 sprouts of the tea plant. These are the sweetest in flavor and the highest in nutrients. All the best teas in Japan will be made from these top 3 leaves. After the leaves have been gathered up, they are ready to be steamed, dried, and rolled into these tight needle-shaped leaves. These tightly rolled leaves lock in the flavor and the aroma of the Gyokuro until it's ready to be released all at once into a glorious green infusion. How much does Gyokuro typically cost? When you're looking for the best Gyokuro, you should expect to pay a little bit more. Generally, Gyokuro can cost somewhere in between 30 cents and $1 per gram. Because you use 5 grams of leaves to make 3 separate cups of tea, this comes down to around only $1 per cup, so it's not too bad for the occasional indulgence. If you're looking for the best Gyokuro green tea, you'll need to get it as directly as possible. People often ask about the best Gyokuro brands, and the truth is that Gyokuro isn't made by brands, it's made by farmers. We don't like to protect our suppliers. We'll show you exactly who produced the Gyokuro tea you're drinking when you order from us. When you buy Gyokuro tea from Neo, you will be getting it from the legendary farmer, Mr. Sakamoto. Mr. Sakamoto has been growing Gyokuro tea without the use of pesticides or chemicals since 1985. During this time, he has developed his own blend of organic fertilizer, which allows him to grow strong, healthy, and flavorful tea plants without harming the local ecosystem. To prepare the best cup of Gyokuro tea, you'll want to follow these basic steps. Make sure to pay careful attention to the water temperature, as this is the most important. Step 1. Add 5 grams of tea leaves to your Kyusu teapot or shibori dashi, which works particularly well for Gyokuro. Step 2. Pour in 150 milliliters of water at a temperature of around 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. Step 3. Let the tea sit undisturbed for 2 minutes with the lid on to keep the tea warm. Step 4. After the time is up, you can pour out the tea into the cup and the built-in strainer will automatically filter the leaves out. As long as you follow these steps, you should be able to easily prepare the best cup of Gyokuro tea. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions about Gyokuro or green tea in general, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. If you'd like to try some Gyokuro tea for yourself, you can find it on our website, neoteas.com. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.